In this video, we will show you how to replace your rear brake flex hose on this Nissan Maxima. This is part of your braking system located behind your rear wheel. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. The first thing we need to do is safely raise and support the rear of the vehicle so the wheel's off the ground. After completing that, remove all 5 of your 21mm lug nuts and we can get the wheel off of here. With the wheel out of the way, we have a clear view of our brake flex hose. Before we start removing the flex hose, let's make our way to the bleeder screw which is attached to your rear brake caliper. For these, typically they'll have some sort of protective boot. Go ahead and remove that, a quick inspection. You should reuse these. Continuing on with the bleeder screw, we're using an 8mm. We're going to open this up. We're waiting to see a steady trickle of fluid making its way out so we can confirm that there's no other issues here. We have our collection receptacle under this area. Definitely some fluid coming out. That's a good sign. We'll close this off temporarily. Now I have a small collection device here. We'll open up our bleeder screw, put this on here, and you should be able to see fluid making its way out down into the hose. Make your way into the passenger compartment. We're going to press the brake pedal all the way down to the floor and hold it there with something such as a pry bar resting up against our front seat. And we'll close this off. Empty this into the receptacle. Now let's make our way all the way to the far end of that flex hose where you can see it mounts to the body bracket. Up along the top of the flex hose, we have our steel brake line. We're going to loosen our 10mm fitting in this area, confirming that we do not have any damage to the brake line. We can continue on. I've already sprayed this with some penetrant. Definitely have movement. When loosening this, you need to double check along this area, confirming you're not actually twisting your brake line, which is essentially damaged, and at that point, it would need to be replaced. This looks good. Let's continue on. We'll fully remove the brake line from the brake flex hose. A quick inspection of the line and the fitting as we continue on. There we are. Now we can move that line around, and as you can tell, there's no fluid making its way out. That's the reason we installed the bar on the brake pedal. Now in that same area, we can remove our small metal clip from here. Using some pliers, you can use a small prying device as well if necessary. This one's stuck in there. A quick inspection confirming it's not rotted, weak, or damaged. We'll move along. Just give that a little tap to break it free. Now as for this end, we want to have this dangling down towards where we have our collection receptacle as we continue on at the caliper. Now in the area where the flex hose connects to the caliper, you're going to find a 12mm banjo bolt. When you remove this bolt, commonly fluid will make its way out of the hose and potentially the caliper as well. A quick inspection of our banjo bolt, confirming it is still reusable. And there's our flex hose. Now along the caliper, we're paying attention for small sealing rings. Make sure you don't see any in the port where your banjo bolt and flex hose would be. If it is, you can use a small prying device to pull that out of place and recycle it properly. We'll give this a quick wipe, close inspection. Now let's focus on our brake line. We're just making sure we can turn this fitting by hand. This is good. Now we can install our brand new rear flex hose. Now, if you're looking at the base of the flex hose where it goes up into the body bracket, you're going to find that you have two flat edges, but one of them has this small notched area. We want to have that notched area facing inboard towards the center of the vehicle when we get this in place. Start bringing this up. We'll align it with our line, and now we'll start turning this in by hand. Just double check, make sure that is starting in perfectly. That feels good. Now we'll snug it up. Okay, right there, felt as though it bottomed out. Just gonna attempt to take this a tiny bit further here. Now we have our locking clip. You can see right where my thumb is, there's a tab that protrudes upward. We'll slide that into the groove that's part of the flex hose and tap it into position using a hammer. Double check, make sure that's properly secured. We'll continue on with attaching the flex hose to the caliper. To install the flex hose onto the caliper, we're going to take our banjo bolt and one of our brand new gaskets. We're never using any of the original gaskets. Slide that right onto the banjo bolt up against the base there. Continuing on, we'll slide that bolt straight through the flex hose, and then on the other side of the flex hose, we'll install our next new gasket. Now at this point, we have a gasket on each side of the flex hose. We can get this in position along the back side of the caliper. As you start installing this, pay attention to the small hooked tab on the flex hose in comparison to the small port on the caliper itself. We need to have these areas aligned. As you can tell, this one is not. We want to align it with that port. Press it in. Snug up the banjo bolt. Right there is bottomed out. We'll turn this approximately another quarter turn. Double check, make sure you're completely seated. After confirming everything's properly secured, it's time to gravity bleed the system. Before you can do anything down here, you need to make your way back up in the passenger compartment and remove the pry bar from your brake pedal. After that, make your way up under the hood and remove the brake master cap. We'll just rest that right up along the top. Now we can make our way back down here. In this area, we're using an 8mm for our bleeder screw. We're going to open this up and wait till we see a steady trickle of fluid making its way out into our collection receptacle. Now that we have a steady trickle of fluid coming out of here with no air bubbles, we can continue on by closing our bleeder screw. At this point, we've completed our gravity bleed for this brake. Make your way under the hood, close your master cylinder cap. Next, you'd want to make your way into the passenger compartment and pump up the brake pedal till it feels firm. If it does feel firm, you can continue on with cleaning your mess and reinstalling the bleeder screw cover. If it feels soft or squishy in any way, continue on with a manual brake bleed. One last quick inspection in this area, we can reinstall our wheel. Once you've started on all 5 of your 21mm lug nuts, we're going to bottom these out in a crisscross manner. We'll get the wheel back on the ground and torque each of the lug nuts to 83 foot-pounds. With the wheel safely on the ground, we'll torque these in a crisscross manner. torqued. The first thing we need to mention is we will have to remove all of our wheels, so you want to make sure you're in a safe area to do so. After completing that, we're underneath the driver's side hood, just behind the air filter housing. You're going to find your brake master cylinder. Before we remove the brake cap, let's make sure we clean up the area to confirm there's no miscellaneous debris that could fall inside of the braking system. Let's go ahead and take hold of that. We'll turn it counterclockwise. A little tight in here. Now as we lift it up and pull it away, we're making sure that we turn it over to see the seal, but we are also not doing this over the master cylinder so nothing falls inside. Now if you were to look deep inside this area, you're going to see brake fluid, and you should also find that you have a small screen. I'm going to remove the screen so we can remove the fluid using a small pick here. For this, I'm just going to carefully try making my way around the edges. Typically it will pop out of place. When you do remove it, you want to make sure you have something underneath it so that brake fluid doesn't get on anything. A quick inspection of the screen and we'll set it aside. Now to extract the fluid, we're going to use a fluid extractor. You can use one like this or something that you can use air. Once you've removed as much fluid as possible, continue on with your protective screen. We're just going to take this and we'll press it into the master cylinder as far as we can. Now that we've removed as much fluid as possible, I'm going to use a funnel and we'll start directing this clean brake fluid directly into that master cylinder. Just top it off up to the maximum line. We have that topped off. Let's reinstall our master cylinder cap now. Now that we're finished at the master, we're making our way to the passenger side front wheel. This is where we're going to start our brake bleed. Now this is going to be easiest with a second person. The second person will be inside of the vehicle and we're going to have them pump up the brake pedal approximately 3 to 5 times, hold it, and we're going to open up the bleeder screw along the back side of the caliper here. When we open this up, of course, we will have a collection receptacle so we can collect and recycle the fluid properly. What we're waiting for is only clean, brand new fluid making its way out and definitely no air bubbles. If you have a bleeder screw cover, go ahead and remove that. Continuing on, I have my collection receptacle here and an 8mm wrench for the front bleeder screws. Go ahead and pump up the brake pedal, please. Now while he's holding, I'm going to open this up and we're watching fluid make its way through the hose. All right, he got that closed. Let's go ahead and do it again. He's holding on it again. Go ahead and do it again. Just going to reset my wrench. There we are. Let's do it one more time for this wheel. Okay, now as you can tell, we had only clean, brand new fluid making its way out and definitely no air bubbles. We've completed the bleeding process on this side of the vehicle. Go over to the other side of the vehicle and repeat this exact same process on the driver's side front caliper. After that, make your way up to the master cylinder and top that off, and we'll make our way back to the passenger side rear. Let's clean this mess and reinstall our bleeder screw cover. Back up under the hood, we're at the master cylinder. Let's go ahead and remove our cap. I have my clean funnel and brand new brake fluid. We'll top this off again. There we are. Reinstall our cap. Now we completed both sides of the front calipers and stopped at the master cylinder. We're back at the passenger side rear. It's time to open up the bleeder screw. We'll remove our bleeder screw cover, of course. Using an 8mm, we're going to double check to make sure this does open as it should. And it does. All right, go ahead and pump up the brake pedal, please. Get my wrench on there. Here we go. You can see our fluid making our way through the hose there. Go ahead and pump, please. Now, as you can see, we have only clean fluid making its way through. I did see some small air bubbles, but that's typically due to the fact that this isn't a very tight seal here. At this point, I'm sure we've fully bled out this caliper. We can remove our apparatus, clean up our mess, and we're going to go over to the driver's side rear and repeat this exact same process. Once you've completed that, you're going to make your way back to that master cylinder. Now we've bled all of the calipers, we're back at the master cylinder. It's time to top it off. Looking along the side of the master cylinder, you can see the line. That's the maximum line right up at the top here. We'll remove that cap and continue on adding up to that maximum and reinstall the cap. Cap on there. There we are. Double check, make sure that's properly secured. You do not want any moisture or debris making its way inside of the braking system. Okay, friend, we finished our brake bleed. The next thing you need to do is reinstall all of your wheels, torque those to 83 foot-pounds. Close the hood and take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.